Yeah, I think it's a real priority for us. It's one of our key values that we continually make space for the Spirit to do what he does best, which is to bring people to faith, to deepen faith, to glorify Jesus. And I think maybe one of the principal ways this year we've seen that is through the Floodgate pilgrimage, where this very simple wooden cross made by our dear friend Mark Dennison up in Vermont, St. Timothy's, has gone over thousands of miles. I think it's about 3,000 miles from memory. Up and down, the northeast. We've put it in a suitcase and put it on Delta. It's been on the steamship company going out to Long Island. It's been everywhere. And where it's landed, almost like an Olympic torch, people have gathered and prayed. And we've had wonderful testimony. I mean, and it's left this path of prayer in its wake. So where it's been, people have been stirred to greater prayer. And that can only be the fruit of the Holy Spirit. That can only be by the leading of the Holy Spirit, that desire. So we've seen a desire to pray, and we've seen a lot more prayer. I also think we've seen the work of the Spirit again distinguished in the arts. And that's been so interesting, because there are things that we have done as a diocese that have really encouraged that. We have an AD&E arts collective, and so a whole broad range of people coming together to share spoken word, visual arts, music, and so forth. It's beautiful. But that also has arisen in many of our churches. Photographic displays, painting displays, painters coming in to talk about their work, people sharing their work. And that has a wonderful, that wonderfully produces fellowship, because I think there is something quite vulnerable when you share what you've made, what you've produced. I think that takes a bit of courage, but it's a wonderful thing when the community gets around it and says, that's beautiful, that really is wonderful. So that kind of builds trust and fellowship, but it's also a wonderful bridge for people who don't yet know Jesus, or maybe are at the fringe, to come in deeper and to be welcomed in. And again, when their work is valued, they feel valued. So I think other ways that we've seen the Spirit move, and I feel very blessed, I feel like I've had a front row seat here, is in the regional reawakenings that we've done. And we've done 3. Since we last met, we've done 3. We did one in Vermont, we've done one in Bangor, Maine, and then we did one in Franklin, Massachusetts. And that was just wonderful to see the churches kind of gather on the Friday evening, kind of joined around kind of an artistic kind of in-reach, if you like, and prayer and ministry and teaching through that. And then the next day to actually reach out to the community around them. And again, that has to be a Spirit-led initiative. You don't do that without the leading of the Spirit. And it really is. It reminds me so much of the disciples who kind of go out and then they come back to Jesus and say, oh my gosh, you won't believe what we saw. And those weekends are just so full of that moment. People are like, oh my gosh, and Jesus did this, and Jesus did this. When we were in Franklin, Massachusetts, we were prayer walking, and one of the members of that prayer walk just had a real burden to go and find someone that she felt needed ministering to. She had met them, I think, once. There was a sense of, I just need to go and seek them out and pray for them. And in a whole crazy set of circumstances, she ends up with a friend coming to this person's house, and he invites them both in, and she's able to minister to him, and he really needed some company and some encouragement in that moment. That's a beautiful piece of the Spirit's kind of leading and obedience, faithfulness on the part of our people. So the regional reawakenings have been wonderful. We've had lobster banquets, art projects, prayer walking, fall festivals, just so much kind of creativity and bridge building. And then the reawakening this year, that was almost 300 people. That's the biggest reawakening conference we've ever had. And it was tremendous. The arts again were at the center of it. The preaching was really rich. The worship was extraordinary. People's heart to worship. They came ready to worship. It's almost like you kind of just lit the match, stand back. It was really fervent.